Zelensky's announcement that he's willing to go to Turkey and essentially wait for Vladimir Putin there is, I think, a very wily one, and that is representative of his traditional skills as a showman, of course, his background before entering the presidency, and his willingness to act boldly in the name of Ukraine's national defense. I think that Zelensky is also crucially keeping in mind how the Trump administration may perceive this. And the idea of him showing up in Istanbul, having given up on his demand for ceasefire to be in effect for 30 days before that, especially when it's unlikely that Putin will agree to any kind of deal anyway, may even be a win-win for him because Putin shows up, doesn't agree to the 30-day ceasefire, then that looks bad in terms of how the Trump administration frames these things, and will also drive other countries in addition to Europe to make more clear their support for Ukraine. Or Vladimir Putin doesn't show up in the first place, and then it's also clear that Putin is the party that is not willing to find a way to cease the tragic murder of so many Ukrainians, occupation of their territory, and further and wider security threats to Europe and the wider world. Zelensky's not going to go there and have some kind of Neville Chamberlain moment where he calls for appeasement or something like that. That's I think simply not on the cards, and so Putin will not want to go unless he can embarrass Zelensky. Vladimir Putin has proposed these sort of direct talks as an attempt to try to get around Ukraine's demand for a 30-day ceasefire. He understands that there are historical tensions between Vladimir Zelensky and the U.S. President Donald Trump. His strategy is really around trying to find ways to exacerbate this, and this means that he wants to keep putting the talks in a position where it's Zelensky who has to do something, not himself first. The ceasefire is something that he has shown no willingness to actually agree to initially in the first place, nor has he softened his demands on annexing Ukrainian territory and effectively destroying the nation's sovereignty. I wouldn't put it overwhelmingly likely at all. Zelensky is very much trying to put the front foot back on Vladimir Putin. I think he is trying to show to the U.S. that as heterodox as some of Trump's proposals and ideas may be, and as much as he may shoot from the hip on some of this policy making, that he's willing to be a partner who adapts to some of those U.S. demands, recognizing the importance of its support. We saw that certainly with the minerals deal and its signing just a week ago, or a few days ago. So there is an important part to Zelensky's strategy, which is really around negotiations with the Trump administration. But the Trump administration and Donald Trump himself have really so far been having negotiations about negotiations and how do they get there. I certainly hope that there's progress towards peace, but I think there is very little likelihood that even if the meeting were to go ahead, that Vladimir Putin would meaningfully alter his strategy or give up the territory that he is occupying in Ukraine. If Putin can find a way to have these negotiations that don't actually result in a deal, but further weaken the Ukrainian negotiating position or further weaken the Trump administration's willingness to support Kiev, then that is in itself a victory for him.